Coming up on this episode of Film World Community, I answer your guys' questions, we have our movie suggestion of the week, and much more. All while I drink coffee at 9 o'clock at night. Hey guys, welcome to Film World Community. It's me, your host, Micah Pendleton. Let's get straight on into it. Starting off with a comment on last week's episode of Film World Community from Poo Dad Productions. He says, did you hear that they were bringing back Close Encounters of the Third Kind back to movie theaters remastered in 4K on September 1st? Thank you very much for sharing this, Poo Dad Productions, because if you saw last week's episode, you'll see I am a big Close Encounters of the Third Kind fan, and I did not hear about this. I am super excited. I did a little bit of looking into it. It looks like September 1st, so it'll be a one week run in theaters. That's a tongue twister there. And it is going to be remastered in 4K as stated, and I'm really excited about this because it celebrates the 40th anniversary of the film. It looks like it's going to be amazing. And I really hope it comes to the theaters where I am, because I really want to see this in theaters, considering I wasn't around 40 years ago to see it in theaters, and I would love to be able to see it in theaters now. Anyway, digress, moving on. A great question from Ace the Dolphin Guy. He asks, why would someone, aka me, want to shoot in 24 FPS instead of 30 FPS, and why are movies still in 24? There must be a good reason. Just don't see why people haven't moved on to 30, 60, and beyond. Thanks. You're welcome. Anyway, this is a very good question, and a lot of people love to argue about it, and a lot of people have their opinions, and if you don't side with them, with a lot of them, you're an idiot. My standing on the subject, it's whatever you want, because there's a very good reason why people choose FPS. And that simple answer is the look of it. There is definitely different looks to different FPSs. For instance, most movies are shot at 24 FPS. Most TV is shot at 30 FPS. And then Peter Jackson filmed The Hobbit at 48 FPS. Well, guess what? A lot of people came out of The Hobbit, said it felt like a made-for-TV movie because of the high frame rate. That just shows of just how much of a different look 30 FPS can have. 24 FPS has that cinematic look, as we all like to say, and currently I'm actually shooting in 24 FPS, and a lot of the stuff I do, pretty much all of it, is in 24 FPS, just because I like the look of 24 FPS myself. 30 FPS, it's a lot smoother, looks good for TV, definitely a good way to go if that's the look you want. Now, Griffin Hammond actually shot on the Panasonic GH5 recently a 4K video shot at 60 FPS, and the entire thing was uploaded at 60 FPS, and you can definitely watch it. I linked in the description that video, and it's really amazing, and it's super smooth. But does it have that cinematic feel? It can. Many different many different frame rates can have cinematic looks and feels. But one thing to help aid you in that can be a 24 FPS to get that cinematic look. A lot of bear quotes right now. But does that, I hope that answers your question, because it really comes down to the look you want. For me, if I'm going to go watch a movie, more than likely I'm going to like it a little bit better as a movie itself in 24 FPS, but I can be proven wrong, and that 60 FPS video I mentioned by Griffin Hammond looked absolutely beautiful, and so many other movies can look good as well. I didn't get to see The Hobbit in 48 FPS, but I would be interested to see, just to see how it stacks up against 24 FPS itself. So that should answer your question. It really just comes down to the look you want. The reason why we haven't moved on, yes, it may be clearer, but it has a totally different look and feeling. A lot of us have come to love 24 FPS. That's basically it, going back and forth in a roundabout way and all that kind of stuff. So those are all the comments and questions from the last episode of Film World Community. Make sure you guys get yours in for sure. You can comment in this video in the comments below, or another great way is to go to the Film World Facebook page, linked below, or hit me up on Twitter at the new Film World Twitter at Film World YT, and definitely subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff with all the different social media pages. So definitely get your questions in for next week's episode of Film World Community. Now let's go ahead and do our movie suggestion of the week. That movie is Neil Blomkamp's Elysium. This movie was absolutely amazing, and I'm a big fan of Neil Blomkamp because his stuff is so original and it's so good. It's just, you don't see a whole lot of filmmakers really experimenting and pushing boundaries in different ways. A lot of it kind of stays within some of this sort of form, if you will, that they try to keep movies in and all that. But Neil Blomkamp really pushes the envelope, and he does it fantastically in Elysium and his other movies as well. I highly recommend you check it out. There's also some theories that all of his movies are in the same universe, which I kind of would like to agree with some of those theories. So definitely check out this one and his other ones as well, because they're also fantastic. That includes Chappie and District 9. Just fantastic movie. I absolutely love it, and I'm a big fan of Neil Blomkamp as well. So that is our movie suggestion of the week, and yes, I do own it in a collector's case with the aluminum case and everything. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Going into what our next episode of Premiere Prep is going to be, it's going to be a very cool episode, and something I think will be very helpful for you guys is how to correct GoPro and other wide-angle lens warp within Blender. I also want to do an episode on how to do that within Lightworks, if I can figure that out in an efficient manner. So definitely stay tuned for that this week for the episode of Premiere Prep. And that's just about it on the Premiere Prep side. I got some more stuff in the works. I want to do an episode on how I get away with filmmaking on Linux. That's definitely going to be a very cool episode there, I think. So definitely stay tuned for that. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. But that really just about does it for this week of Filmworld Community. Make sure you get in your comments and questions in the comments below, Filmworld Facebook page, and Filmworld Twitter, on the Filmworld website, the forum. All this stuff is linked below. That pretty much does it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Micah Pendleton. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you next time. And I will see you for Premiere Prep this Friday. Remember, live your life one frame at a time, and I will catch you next time.